Hello and welcome to Election Night 2020. Tonight the candidates are Bernie Sanders running with Tulsi Gabbard and the incumbent president Donald Trump running with the incumbent vice president Mike Pence. Let's take a look at some polling data. In the national average, Trump is approved 36% and disapproved 57%. Sanders is approved by 64% of the country and 34% of the country disapprove of him. In Nevada, Sanders is ahead +4. In Ohio, Sanders is ahead +5. In Iowa, Sanders is ahead +2. In New Hampshire, Sanders is ahead +15. In Pennsylvania, Sanders is ahead +9. Going over to Wisconsin, Sanders is ahead +12. In Michigan, he's ahead +8. In Arizona, Sanders is ahead +2. In North Carolina, they're tied. In Florida, Trump is +1. And in Georgia, Trump is +5. Now it's time for the 7 p.m. poll closings, which include the key states of Virginia and Georgia. In Bernie Sanders' home state of Vermont, he will carry their 3 electoral votes, taking the majority of the vote there. Now going over to Kentucky, 8 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump in the state of Kentucky. Going over to Indiana, Mike Pence's home state here, 11 electoral votes up for grabs. They will be snatched up by the Trump campaign. In South Carolina, 9 electoral votes, a bit less vote here for Trump, but still he will carry their 9 electoral votes. In Virginia, 13 electoral votes are up for grabs. Sanders is leading by 10 points. In Georgia, 16 electoral votes. Trump is ahead by just 2%. This is the electoral map as it stands. 3 certain for Bernie Sanders, 13 leaning his way, and 28 are certain to go for Donald Trump, and 16 is leaning his way. It's now time for the 7:30 p.m. poll closings, which include the key states of Ohio and North Carolina. But first, in the great state of West Virginia, coal country here, 5 electoral votes, overwhelming support for Donald Trump in West Virginia. Going over to Ohio, 18 electoral votes. They are currently just 0.2% separating the two candidates. Sanders taking quite a lot of independent vote here. Going over to North Carolina, 2 percentage points divides them. Bernie Sanders is leading by 2%, 15 electoral votes here. This is the electoral map as it stands. 3 certain for Democrats and 46 are leaning their way. 33 is certain for the GOP and 16 is leaning their way. 440 electoral votes are up for grabs. It's now time for the 8 p.m. poll closings, which include the key states of Florida and, of course, the great state of New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and Maine. But first, in Oklahoma, 7 electoral votes. Huge support here for the GOP candidate Donald Trump in the state of Oklahoma. In Mississippi, 6 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. In Alabama, Doug Jones won here in 2017, but he will take their 9 electoral votes. In Tennessee, 11 electoral votes near Kentucky here will go to Donald Trump. In Missouri, 10 electoral votes, bit tighter here, will go to Trump. In the state of Connecticut, 7 electoral votes will go to Sanders. In the state of Maine, 3 out of their 4 electoral votes will go to Bernie Sanders, overwhelming support in New England for him. In Delaware, 3 electoral votes will go to Bernie Sanders. Going over to Illinois, 20 electoral votes will go to Bernie Sanders, quite a lot of electoral votes there in Illinois. In Maryland, 10 electoral votes will go to Sanders. Now to the state of Massachusetts. 11 electoral votes will go to Bernie Sanders, almost bordering Vermont here, so quite a lot of support for the Democratic candidate here in Massachusetts. Going over to New Jersey, 14 electoral votes, a big win here for the Sanders campaign expected. However, it is a big win for them. Going over to Rhode Island, smallest state in the Union, 4 electoral votes will overwhelmingly go to Senator Sanders. Going now in the District of Columbia, 3 electoral votes, Bernie Sanders will win 97% of the vote. Huge support for the progressive candidate here. In Florida, 29 electoral votes are up for grabs. Just 0.2% is separating the two candidates. Going over to Maine, their 1 electoral vote is up for grabs, Bernie Sanders leading. In New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes is too close to call. However, Bernie Sanders is leading. In Pennsylvania, it is also too close to call. 52% of Bernie Sanders is ahead, 52 to 48. This is the electoral map as it stands. 78 certain for the Democrats, 100 is leaning their way, 76 is certain for the GOP, and 16 leaning their way. It's now time for the 8:30 p.m. poll closings. The state of Arkansas will go to Donald Trump. 6 electoral votes will go to Trump in Arkansas. And this is the electoral map, not much change here. 75 certain for the Democrats, 100 leaning their way, and 82 certain for the GOP, 16 leaning their way. Now it's time for the 9 p.m. poll closings. The state of Wyoming, 3 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump in Wyoming. Now going over to Nebraska, 4 out of their 5 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. In Louisiana, 8 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. The rural area is really coming out for him. Going over to North Dakota, 3 electoral votes, a bit closer, but nonetheless, he still will carry their 3. In South Dakota, as North goes, South goes, which means Trump will also carry their 3 electoral votes. Nebraska, 4 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. Now going over to Kansas, 5 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. We're in the red wall here. Colorado, 9 electoral votes, another 9. Now going to the Sun Belt here, 9 electoral votes will go to Bernie Sanders. In New Mexico, 5 electoral votes, huge support here for Senator Sanders. In the state of Minnesota, 10 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. In Wisconsin, the Rust Belt here, key to Sanders' victory in 2020. He will carry Wisconsin, which is part of his strategy to take back the Rust Belt. In New York, 29 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. And Arizona is too close to call. Donald Trump with a 4% lead in the state of Arizona. Now, going over to Nebraska's 1 electoral votes will go. We cannot make a projection. It is too close to call. Donald Trump is leading. In Michigan, 16 electoral votes. Sanders with an 8% lead. Huge margin of victory, almost. However, it is too close to call. Only 10% of precincts are reporting, so we cannot make a projection. In the state of Texas, 38 electoral votes are too close to call. This is a solid red state that Sanders is currently leading. However, it is important to note that only the city counties are reporting districts, so that those counties overwhelmingly vote Democratic, so this is not over for the Trump campaign. And now it's time to look at our electoral map. 141 certain for the Democrat. You can see the background is light blue. 154 leaning their way. 125 certain for the GOP, and 28 leaning their way. We have a key race alert at 9:30 p.m. The state of Georgia, 16 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. Way down south here, this was expected to be a too close to call, and Trump has pulled it off. Georgia will go to him. In Virginia, 13 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders, part of his victory strategy here in Virginia. In Pennsylvania, 20 electoral votes, a huge victory for the Sanders campaign. This was part of their strategy to take back the Rust Belt from the GOP, and Sanders seems to have won the state of Pennsylvania. In Michigan, 16 electoral votes, another huge win for the Sanders campaign in Michigan. This was part of this crushes one of Donald Trump's path of victory because Sanders has taken back the Rust Belt. Now Trump must win Florida. And Florida, 29 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. This is wiping off Trump's chances that much. So we do predict that Senator Sanders will become the next president. However, we cannot confirm that until he has passed 270. In New Hampshire, 4 electoral votes will go to him. New England here, big support in New England for him. In the state of Maine, it's the 1st Congressional District, the rural part of the state will go to him. Huge support for him in New England. This is the electoral map as it stands. Much more blue, 224 certain for the Democrats and 71 leaning their way. If all of the states that are leaning their way went to Senator Sanders, he would win, even though we have not factored in all the other states to close their polls. And 125 certain for the GOP, 12 leaning their way. And it's time for the 10 p.m. Mountain Time poll closings. The state of Nevada, it is too close to call. Sanders is leading 4 percentage points here. In Iowa, it is also too close to call. Just 2 percentage points, same as in the polls. In Iowa, 6 electoral votes will go. We cannot make a projection. And the state of Utah, 6 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. However, it is important to note that Gary Johnson and Evan McMullin, who are represented in green and orange respectively, have captured a lot of the Republican vote. However, Trump will still take their 6 electoral votes. It was actually quite close between Trump and McMullin. McMullin got 30% of the vote, Trump getting 32, so quite close. However, he will still carry their 6 electoral votes. In Montana, 3 electoral votes will go to him. And this is the electoral map as it stands. 224 certain for the Democrats, 83 leaning their way, 134 certain for the GOP, and 12 leaning their way. And it's time for the 11 p.m. poll closings. In the state of Idaho, overwhelming support here for Donald Trump. 4 electoral votes will go to him. In California, 55 electoral votes. This is the largest prize in the union. Will all go to Senator Sanders. Remember, he won this in the primary with Joe Biden when he was in the primary for the 2020 election, and he will take their 55 electoral votes once again. Huge support in California. This is the electoral map, 279 for the Democrat, which means that Bernie Sanders will become the next president of the United States. The general election will be won by Bernie Sanders. This is a big win for the Democrats. In the state of Washington, 12 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders, the independent from Vermont. Now going over to Oregon, we apologize for the error there. It should say 8 electoral votes will go to him. Huge support in Oregon. And now in Hawaii, 4 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. This is the electoral map as it stands. 302 certain for the Democrats, 83 leaning their way, 138 certain for the GOP, and 12 leaning their way. We have some breaking news at 12:41 a.m. Donald Trump has called Senator Bernie Sanders, saying the system for voting is rigged, and in a tweet saying, "We must fight against stupid Sanders." That was the name calling he was calling Senator Sanders in the general election. Stupid Sanders, like he did with Crooked Hillary and Little Marco and all his other name callings. So, yeah. We have some more breaking news to bring you at 12:53 a.m. President-elect Sanders is giving his victory speech to supporters. And we have a key race alert at 12:58 a.m. Nevada will be won by Senator Sanders' 6 electoral votes, a big win here in Nevada. Going over to Nebraska, its 1st congressional district will go to Senator Sanders. In North Carolina, 15 electoral votes. This was part of Senator Sanders' victory plan, gaining the Rust Belt back, winning North Carolina and Florida and Nevada, and then that would put him over the top. However, he did not need to win North Carolina since he already won the presidency. In Iowa, 6 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. In Ohio, it is still too close to call. It is tied 50-50 in the battle for its 18 electoral votes. In Texas, it is also 50-50 in the battle for its 38. This is the electoral map as it stands: 330 for the Democrat and 56 leaning their way, 138 for the Republican and 12 leaning their way. We have some breaking news at 12:59 a.m. Donald Trump has called for a recount in the following states: a recount in the states of Texas, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Arizona. He has called for a recount in those states. We have a key race alert right now. Arizona will be won by Donald Trump, 11 electoral votes. Ohio will be won by Senator Sanders, 18 electoral votes. This is before the recount, so 18 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. This is the electoral map as it stands. Donald Trump leading 38 electoral votes leaning his way, and 149 certain for him, 348 solidly blue on this map. It's now time. Alaska's polls have closed. Alaska will go to Donald Trump. This is the electoral map as it stands. 348 for Senator Sanders, 152 for Donald Trump, and Texas is leaning his way. We have some more breaking news to bring you at 1:10 a.m. Donald Trump has tweeted that, quote, "So sad the election is rigged. Recount!" Exclamation marks, 5 exclamation marks. Hashtag Make America Great Again and hashtag No Sanders. This was tweeted at 1:32 a.m. We have some more breaking news at 2:47 a.m. The recount has started in Texas, Michigan, Nevada, and Ohio. Pennsylvania is refusing to start the recount. Just as a little side note here, Trump has taken back his call for a recount in Arizona since he won the state of Arizona. We have some more breaking news at 2:47 a.m. Pennsylvania has started their recount after immense pressure from the Trump campaign. We have some more breaking news. This is Friday, November 5th at 12:03 p.m. The states of Texas and Ohio are now in the Trump column after the recount. This is huge win. Texas, 38 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump, and Ohio, another 18 will go to Donald Trump. Huge victories here. We have some more breaking news to bring you. It is 9:37 a.m. on Monday, the 8th of November. The states of Pennsylvania and Nevada are still in the Sanders column even after the recounts. So Pennsylvania, 20 electoral votes, and Nevada, 6 electoral votes will go to Senator Sanders. Michigan will also go to Senator Sanders. This is the electoral map as it stands: 330 for Senator Sanders, 208 for Donald Trump. We have some more breaking news to bring you 1 week after the election. Exactly 1 week after the election. Donald Trump has taken the Sanders campaign to court over this. However, since they have not had any legal grounds to base this on, they have lost. The Trump campaign is still refusing to concede the election. The general election winner, Bernie Sanders, will be the next president of the United States. This is now the Senate balance of power: 57 Democrats, 43 Republicans. Democrats will take control of the United States Senate. In the House, there are 258 Democrats, 178 Republicans, 218 needed for control. Democrats have passed that, which means they will take control of the U.S. House. This is the final electoral college map: 55,276,461 votes for Sanders, and 45,737,362 votes for Donald Trump. He taking 45% of the popular vote. Senator Sanders taking 55% of the popular vote. And this is the end of our election night in America. I hope you enjoyed this 5 subscribers special. It probably seems really weird me saying that. However, I am keen to gain more subscribers. So if you are watching this in the future, this was posted kind of early on in the making of this channel, on the 20th of February. So yeah, if you're going like, wow, a 5 subscriber special, just know this is quite early on in the channel. I only started it a couple weeks ago, so that explains the low amount of subscribers, but hey, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, let me just say thank you to Let's Talk Elections once again for making the format of this, and yeah, just thank you to Let's Talk Elections also for giving me the inspiration to start this channel. So yeah, I hope to be doing a 10 subscriber special very soon, and in the meantime, I'll keep doing normal election predictions, and I'll do the election nights every once in a while when I hit a major subscriber milestone, or if you guys really suggest it, that would be okay. But anyway, just thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video, which is hopefully sooner rather than later. Thanks.